lot has changed.
Right.
This week on At the Movies, Vin Diesel and Paul Walker are back in Fast and Furious.
I really want to see you tonight.
It's me.
Kristen Stewart and Ryan Reynolds go to Adventureland.
Did he hurt you?
Sort of. He told me he loved me.
Plus, Zooey Deschanel and John Goodman invade Paul Dano's life.
You here to take me in, O'Connor?
Oh, no. She's my friend, too. I'm going with you.
I ain't coming back.
This is where my jurisdiction ends.
And this is where mine begins.
Vin Diesel and Paul Walker get behind the wheel one more time. I'm Ben Lyons from E! Entertainment.
And I'm Ben Mankiewicz from Turner Classic Movies. 8 years after the surprise hit, The Fast and the Furious, the four main stars, Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, Jordana Brewster, and Michelle Rodriguez, are back to make essentially the same movie. The title's even almost identical, Fast and Furious, instead of The Fast and the Furious. At least the original was, you know, original. This version is little more than a series of extremely poorly written contrivances in between elaborate vehicular stunts, some of which, admittedly, are impressive.
Hold on to something tight!
That scene opens the movie, and it's the film's most exciting moment. Diesel is Dom, who runs a gang of street racers with a Robin Hood work ethic. Yes, they use their driving skills to steal, but they only rob the rich. Anyway, the story here is irrelevant, which is nice because it's so poorly developed, I couldn't even follow it. The movie is about the racing. It's a good thing the racing is the showcase because the dialogue includes exchanges like Dom's sister saying to him, "Stop before it's too late." And then he says, "It's already too late." Well, it's not too late for you. Skip Fast and Furious.
You know, Mank, I hate to say it, but I completely agree with you. This is more the same here, really. I'm someone who never takes special effects work for granted. I know how many talented people it takes to pull off those sequences. However, it's the same sequences from 8 years ago, and they've kind of become the trademark of the franchise, obviously. But there's nothing new here. There's nothing to get me excited as a fan, even, of the franchise.
I thought the stunts here, all the special effects in the film, were overly glitzy, glossy. They shined. This is a movie about street racers, sort of down-and-out street racers, criminals, in fact, and there was nothing grimy or dirty about it at all. So it seemed to me as if every single one of those races, particularly that first race between Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, that felt like the video game was already made. It looked like a video game, and then you just feel like you're getting sold stuff.
Yeah, you can really pick apart the authenticity of the underworld of racing, but here it's really just a glorification of that world.
Very
and
much
with
so.
the women who are scantily clad and the bad hip-hop music, it's just endless. And I hope this does mark the end of the Fast and Furious franchise. I don't think there's more to be told
I think
with these
that
characters.
will depend on what happens at the box office.
Right, I agree with you. Skip Fast and Furious. First-time co-writer-director Matt Asselton brings us Gigantic, starring young indie film vets Paul Dano and Zooey Deschanel. Dano plays Brian Weathersby, who works selling mattresses while trying to fulfill his lifelong dream to adopt a Chinese baby. Deschanel plays Harriet, a free spirit, better known as Happy, who meets Brian when purchasing a bed from him.
Can I help you?
My dad talked to someone about a bed.
You wanna see it?
Hey, can you see up my skirt?
Not really.
Great.
The two form an intimate, immediate connection, having sex in the back of her father's car shortly after they meet. He knows he needs to pursue a relationship with Happy or he'll never see her again. So he starts to spend more time with her and her eccentric father, played by John Goodman.
Meet Brian. He's recently started sleeping with my daughter.
Dad.
You like Harriet?
Yes.
Mess her up, I'll kill your parents. Your parents still alive?
Yes.
Good.
Brian also has a unique relationship with his dad, played by Ed Asner, who, despite being a responsible and supportive father, takes mushrooms in the woods with his 3 sons. Yeah, it's that kind of movie. The script is sharp and well-written, and with some strong performances, especially from John Goodman. Give it a shot. I say see Gigantic.
I felt, Ben, like I was being hit over the head with a quirky club in this movie. I mean, Paul Dano plays a quirky loner. Zooey Deschanel plays a quirky, attractive loner. Ed Asner is a quirky, benevolent father. John Goodman is the quirky, overbearing father.
It's a quirky movie.
Yeah, but it's self-consciously quirky, too self-consciously quirky. There are some good performances. In fact, I think all of the performances were good, and that elevates it from being unwatchable into being an okay indie feel film, but not enough.
I think overall, if you have strong performances and a well-written script, then there's something to like here, and I found that. I enjoyed the quirkiness to it. I didn't feel like it hit me over the head. It felt subtle to me in a way because you're getting to know these characters and their dynamic.
What was subtle about any of these characters were like they were stock quirky characters.
Oh, no. Zooey Deschanel and Paul Dano, sure, they play quirky indie characters, and nobody does it better than them, and I think pairing them together really works. It's the first time I've seen them on screen together, and I really enjoy their chemistry, and that's the heart of this movie. And there's some experimental things here that Asselton does with some narrative, and that might lose audiences along the way. But for me, I was along for the indie ride, and I enjoyed it.
I don't want people to misunderstand me. I did not hate this movie, but there was too much wrong with it for me to, in good conscience, recommend it. I'm going to have to say skip gigantic.
All right, we agree to disagree. Coming up next, an inmate concocts an ingenious plan in The Escapist.
And later, Kristen Stewart and Jesse Eisenberg spend a summer at Adventureland.
All right, the race is on. We have a winner.
I want out, Brody. Not in a month. Not 6. Now. My first letter in 14 years. I gotta see her. I gotta make things right.
From first-time feature director Rupert Wyatt comes The Escapist, starring Brian Cox, perhaps best known from the Bourne franchise or as the original Hannibal Lecter in Michael Mann's Manhunter. He stars along with Joseph Fiennes in an inventively told prison escape film. Cox is Frank, serving a life sentence in a British prison, but when he learns his only child is gravely ill, he's determined to escape with help from Fiennes and actor Liam Cunningham.
3 players.
Barriers.
1, 2, 3. Locks. Bolts and key.
No chance. I'm a thief, no magician.
The storytelling here is not only unique, but it effectively sets up the film's dramatic conclusion. The movie opens with the escape, then builds backwards, alternating the drama of the breakout and the tension of the planning. The movie was written specifically for Brian Cox, and it is a great fit. He blends fatherly compassion, steely resilience, and calm acceptance of his situation. The supporting cast is excellent, too, and the escape, revealed in pieces, is consistently dramatic. At the end, you're not quite sure if the backstory enhances the escape or if it's the other way around. Either way, it all builds up to a creative and credible conclusion. It was a little tough cutting through some thick accents, but ultimately that didn't matter. Wyatt tells a story you're eager to follow wherever it leads. It's available in limited release and also on demand. I think you should see The Escapist.
You mentioned how Fast and Furious had a lack of grittiness or authenticity to it. This is down and dirty and raw. This feels like a prison movie. We've seen prison movies before about inmates trying to escape, but never like this. And I think the unconventional narrative here is the real signature of the film.
Yeah, this is an enormously gritty movie, and I really felt that like that back and forth between we start with the escape and then we go back to the sort of the planning of the escape and life in prison. And at the exact moment when you thought, I want to get back to the escape, you'd go back to the escape, and then you'd like, oh, well, now I need more of the planning. I mean, each time he left you wanting more of the little bits that he'd just shown you.
And you mentioned how the director, Wyatt, he wrote this role specifically for Brian Cox. That definitely shows in the piece, but also these supporting characters. Dominic Cooper, a talented young actor, and of course Joseph Fiennes, adds so much to it. I love the ensemble aspect to this.
The actor that we showed you there in the clip doing the domino setup of the escape, Liam Cunningham, I thought he was outstanding too. Also Damian Lewis, who plays sort of the guy who runs the prison, the tough evil guy who runs the prison, who they fear so much that at one point an inmate cuts off his own thumb just because Damian Lewis tells him to.
Terrifying.
Terrific actor. He was Lieutenant Winters, eventually Captain Winters on HBO's Band of Brothers, an exceptionally talented actor.
Look, a very good prison movie. I don't think it's Shawshank Redemption. I don't think it's The Great Escape, but it's right up there. A good movie. I think you should see it.
Coming up next, from the director of Superbad, we'll review Kristen Stewart and Jesse Eisenberg in Adventureland.
And later, William H. Macy and Cheryl Hines help their son find a prom date in Bart Got a Room.
It was uncanny how many signs she was giving him.
Forget to refrigerate these?
Smell weird?
Yeah.
Fry these up.
You mean drinking drugs?
I think I had a bad corn dog.
Yeah, don't ever eat the corn dogs.
That was a scene from Adventureland starring Kristen Stewart, Ryan Reynolds, and Jesse Eisenberg. We had an early review on last week's show. It opens this weekend, and I say see it. I had a lot of fun with Adventureland.
Really effective time and place here. It's set in an amusement park, Adventureland in Pittsburgh, late 80s. I thought the music, late 80s work. That was, I was 20 years old in 1987. That felt very authentic to me. I think the movie is being marketed very well, maybe marketed well to make money, but it is misleading, the marketing of this film. It's from Greg Mottola, who directed Superbad, and the suggestion is like, this is another crazy teen comedy,
it's definitely
and it's not.
No, it's a lot more heartfelt, and it's a little bit more understated in its approach to comedy. The leads don't really have the jokes here. The supporting actors do. I said last week, Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader, they are tremendous and the best on-screen couple to possibly run an amusement park. It just works. But Eisenberg and Stewart are much more serious, and that's where the film really has its voice.
Also a nice supporting role from Ryan Reynolds. I agree with you. Go ahead and see Adventureland. Next, we have another offering from a first-time writer-director. It's Bart Got a Room. Brian Hecker's film stars newcomer Stephen Kaplan as Danny Stein, a sweet but nerdy high school senior in a world of retirees in Hollywood, Florida. Danny is looking forward to his prom the way a 5-year-old anticipates Christmas morning. But he doesn't want to take his best friend, played by Arrested Development alum Aaliyah Shawkat. He's fantasizing about a gorgeous sophomore cheerleader.
What about that sophomore you drive to school? Alice, yeah, I'm thinking her. She's a cheerleader, so she's limber.
The way I see it, you're kind of like your car. Seriously. Don't you think your car totally represents who you are in every facet?
When the cheerleader blows him off, Danny's search gets desperate, eventually enlisting his divorced dad to find him a date at the last second. Dad is William H. Macy, while Curb Your Enthusiasm's Cheryl Hines plays his mom.
Truth is, you shouldn't be getting a hotel room. I never got a room.
Mom? Bart got a room.
Bart got a room?
Hi, can I help you?
We need a room.
Hines and Macy get some laughs, but the film itself feels insufficiently developed. It's not as raunchy as some teen comedies, but it's also not nearly as funny as the best of them. What's good, really good, is the location. Hecker expertly shares the peculiarities of Jewish life in South Florida, and there are some strong performances, notably Stephen Kaplan as the lead, but it's not quite enough to fully recommend. I'm going to say rent Bart Got a Room.
Oh, I had fun with this, Mank. I agree with you. It's not as funny as a lot of other teen comedies, but it's as heartfelt, and the relationship between Kaplan and Macy does provide a few laughs here. It's an inventive take on a story we've heard a million times before, a kid trying to get a date to go to the prom. Here it just has a sweet voice to it, and I'm glad you mentioned the location because that's what's really cool about the film. This Hollywood, Florida Jewish community that everybody's got an opinion on who he should take to the prom. That was really special in this.
It is sweet and it is tender, there's no question, but there were just moments in it, a lot of moments, specifically the relationship between William H. Macy and Stephen Kaplan. And William H. Macy, just a wonderful actor, and I pointed out I thought Stephen Kaplan was good too. Somehow, though, that relationship just felt a little false to me, and the other relationships that the parents had felt false. There was something in here that didn't quite click, other than the location. What I did love, and I want to point out, is the whole title conceit, that prom is so important to these kids, to these 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. It's the most important night of their lives, that even the geekiest kid in school, Bart, got a room. I thought that was amusing.
Just wait till audiences see Bart. The humor here is grounded. It's not over the top like American Pie and Superbad, and that's what makes Bart Got a Room worth seeing. Writing, directing team Ryan Fleck and Anna Boden last brought us Half Nelson, which got Ryan Gosling a Best Actor nomination at the 2007 Academy Awards. The two have once again delivered a powerful character study, this time with Sugar. First-time actor Aljanis Perez Soto plays Miguel Sugar Santos, a young pitcher from the Dominican Republic with an amazing natural gift. Signed by a Major League Baseball team, he leaves his friends, family, and his homeland to travel to America to pursue his dreams. Despite his incredible ability to throw a baseball, he must adjust to a new way of life.
Nunca cojan nada del minibar del hotel. Esa vaina es carísima. ¿Quieren beber cerveza? Cojan y vayan a la bodega.
Okay, Bouchard.
French toast, please.
Okay, who's next?
Sugar is sent to Iowa to play single-A ball, and we begin to witness that there's more to the charismatic pitcher than just a monster fastball. There's also a lot more to making it in baseball than just raw talent.
Bring over Leonard. Welcome to America, son.
Sugar is one of the best baseball and sports movies I've seen. It's got an authenticity that most sports films lack. Sugar's story feels real. He's not invincible by any means. His self-doubts and insecurities are genuine, and they draw you closer to him and his story. It's safe to say that Fleck and Bowden are now proven filmmakers with a wonderful sense of character and story arc. It played at the 2008 Sundance Film Festival, and it's opening this weekend in a limited release. I say see Sugar.
Fleck and Bowden are clearly storytellers. Like Half Nelson, this is a wonderful story, a great story arc. Start to finish, everything about this felt real, felt authentic, felt like you were seeing something very, very, very original.
It's amazing to think that this is Soto's first time out. His performance as Sugar, the driving force of the movie here, is nearly flawless. He's isolated in these new surroundings, trying to learn about himself, trying to maximize his abilities, but overcome his insecurities. It's an immigrant story, and so much more than a baseball movie.
Oh, definitely. But I also want to be clear that, you know, baseball fans they view Hollywood harshly because Hollywood has messed up some baseball movies and they don't get that stuff right. So even though this will appeal to people who don't love baseball, the fact is the baseball stuff they got exactly right.
And shot on a shoestring budget. I mean, for an independent film to have these great locations in the Dominican Republic and in Iowa and then New York City, that's a tremendous accomplishment as well.
And shot incredibly well. I mean, taking you from the Dominican Republic and the poverty we see there, and then to Iowa and the vast expanse openness where he's playing single-A ball, also beautifully shot. And then we go to the Bronx. 3 different locations. They all look great in what is, I think, a really terrific film that everybody should see. Coming up next, Meryl Streep and Philip Seymour Hoffman headline our DVD Out Now segment.
What are you doing in this school?
The church needs to change.
The point being?
We should be friendlier.
Now it's time to take a look at DVDs Out Now. My pick, Doubt. Admittedly a film I like, but don't love. However, when you get a chance to see 4 Oscar nominees in one film, seize that opportunity. It's set at a Bronx Catholic school just after JFK's assassination. Amy Adams is a young nun who suspects an inappropriate relationship between the school's only black student and Father Flynn, played by Philip Seymour Hoffman. She takes her worries to another nun, Meryl Streep, who, despite inconclusive evidence, unwaveringly believes Father Flynn is guilty. And the scene between Streep and Viola Davis, the student's mother, is a dramatic moment not to be missed. The last line is painfully dreadful, but it's not enough to detract from 4 really terrific performances.
My DVD pick this week is IOUSA from documentary filmmaker Patrick Creedon, whose last film was the very entertaining wordplay about the world of competitive crossword puzzlers. Creedon tackles far more serious subject matter here, centering around the nation's financial crisis, primarily our constantly growing national debt. It places our economic troubles in their proper historical context, using archival footage to compare wartime spending throughout the generations. An interesting documentary that you should see. So, IOUSA and Doubt will be in stores on Tuesday.
Want to know what you can't miss this weekend? Well, stay tuned for my 3 to 7.
If you think Geico's the cheap insurance company, then you're gonna really be confused when you hear this. Drivers who switch from Geico to Allstate saved an average of $518 a year. Confused? Don't be.
Hotel provided by Park Hyatt Chicago. Chicago's award-winning hotel and luxury dining experience. Located in the heart of Chicago's Magnificent Mile on Water Tower Square.
All right, time to recap the movies on this week's show. We both say you can skip Fast and Furious. We split on Gigantic. I say see it. Ben says skip it. We both say to see The Escapist. And we agree you should see Adventureland. And I say see Bart Got a Room. Ben says it's okay to rent it. We both say you should see Sugar.
My 3 to see starts with the sharp, clever comedy I Love You Man. You know, the marketing campaign continues to frustrate me on this film. This is not a sophomoric teen comedy. John Hamburg's movie is a grown-up script with funny, sharp performances from Paul Rudd in particular, but also Jason Segel, Rashida Jones, and Jon Favreau in a supporting role. At number 2, a film we just reviewed, Sugar, from the writing-directing team of Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck. The baseball stuff is pitch perfect, but this is just a great story with stellar performances and without a false note. And at number 1, Sin Nombre, still the best movie I've seen in 2009. From director Cary Fukunaga, it's the story of an unlikely friendship, a Honduran girl and a former violent Mexican gang member. These words get thrown around too much in film criticism, but this movie is haunting, powerful, and beautiful.
That's it for now. Remember, we're always online on atthemoviestv.com.
We'll leave you with a look at releases coming soon, and until next week, as always, we will be at the movies.
The world has no use for another scared man right now.
Just keep pushing on.
Jelly Belly Jelly Beans. 50 true-to-life flavors, each handcrafted with the finest ingredients. Get real. Get Jelly Belly.
Guess what superfruit is taking America by storm? Sunsweet prunes. How do you like the individual wrappers?
It's not dry at all.
They're delicious.
Sunsweet Ones, the remarkable superfruit.
Need contact lenses? 1-800-CONTACTS has the most brands in stock, so you'll get your contacts right when you need them. 1-800-CONTACTS. We deliver, you save.
Millions of pet owners trust 1-800-PET-MEDS for fast service, free shipping, and big savings. Call now or order online from 1-800-PET-MEDS, America's largest pet pharmacy.